May the peace and blessings of God be with us all. You're welcome to I Am Moment. I am someone who listens to a lot of podcasts, and there's this particular series, The Diary of a CEO with Steven Bartlett, where you can find it on YouTube and other podcast platforms. I listened to an interview he had with Nick Cannon, and it has been an eye-opener. I have always seen Nick Cannon to be, a comedian, someone who is into business, even though I didn't know the depth of his business. Also someone who is into the entertainment industry, music, rap. So this podcast has actually opened my eye to a number of things. I took notes though when I was listening. There were some things which were very striking and I took notes. The first thing I noted was that he had some help, and he has appreciated people who placed him on different levels. One of the people he has appreciated a lot is Jamie Foxx, who was almost the first big star to have a very personal relationship with. And then later, who was Will Smith. And his relationship with Will Smith is very, very nice, where he mentioned one incident where when Will Smith paid him around $150,000, gave him this paycheck, and this young guy in the industry, somewhere around 19, went and bought the same Range Rover as Will Smith used. So Will Smith told him that, "Gentlemen, you don't have to do that, because I have been there. There was a time I passed through this, blew my money on different things which were less important, and I lost it. I went broke. And so don't go down that lane. This is a good thing. If you have a mentor who would mentor you, and mostly when the person has passed through where you are going through, it makes it easier." And that was the first point that I learned, the importance of mentorship. If there wasn't someone like that in his life at that point, he probably would have made some pretty bad decisions. Okay, so fast forward, I think he said that after 6 months, the car got totaled, which means it got destroyed and wasn't in use again. So that is the importance of being with people who have insight and are ready to share insight. So this goes both ways, to those coming up and to those who are up there. Those up there, you help those who are coming up, and those coming up, you listen to those who are up there. It helps. Another thing is, when he was asked by Steven Bartlett, what is the secret to doing whatever you do well, he said, don't practice, just keep doing. Just keep doing, because whatever you do, you need to keep doing it. So whether it is good or not good, just keep doing it. The more you spend the hours on it, the more you learn about it, the more you read about it, you listen, you do all those things, you would be automatically be getting good at it. And so just keep doing it. And I loved it. And he also advised people to love themselves. You love yourself, because we have something called self-worth, self-esteem. Everything has self. And so yourself first. Feel good about what you're doing. Be okay with it. And I think when you start believing in yourself that way, that energy translates to other people experiencing you. And so I think it is a very good thing that we have to also keep in mind. There's this particular lesson I also learned. When Nick was 32, he was diagnosed with lupus. And lupus is a sickness where the immune system, instead of it fighting diseases that comes into your system, if you get some disease into your system, this immune system would fight it. Now in a case of lupus, the immune system would start fighting your own organs. And so there are different kinds of it. His specifically was attacking his kidneys, and it was something difficult, according to him. It was very difficult. Where he was 32 at that time, he almost had everything. He was married to Mariah Carey. He had 2 kids at the time. And a lot of things coming from the projects in the US or America is like the place where the slums, something like that, in our own language, where he moved from that side to a very renowned place to stay. But then he got diagnosed with lupus. When the interview went on, he said something which I wrote exactly what he said because I felt it was deep. He said that when you are not afraid of dying, you focus on living. Because when you get to, and he talked about this, that those people who get that near-death experience, when they come out for some time, they are really not afraid of dying, and so they start appreciating and they start doing things they can do better, because you know that death actually scares a lot of people, and almost everyone at different points in time. When you feel death, or when you can do something but then you feel, what happens when that thing brings about my death or something? So I think deeply when this thing is very, very paramount or very important that we need to see. When you are not afraid of dying, you concentrate on living to do things better with people around you. And he mentioned that after a while, when he was there in the bed in the hospital, he would look at the ceiling and be thinking and all that. So Steven asked him whether he was happy or scared. He wasn't scared. For scared, he wasn't. So he asked him whether he was happy. He said no, he wasn't happy. It was rather contentment. Contentment is extremely important, and that's what we're all seeking. If you are content with what you have, it actually helps you. And me personally, as a Muslim, where God says, if you are grateful, God would add you some more. I think it is very important, very necessary that we develop the habit of contentment. So the guy said he was content, and he also said something which I wrote again. It was this particular podcast. I would suggest that you have a listen to it. It's about a little over half an hour, but it is worth it. Every minute I kept listening and listening till there was nothing to listen anymore, till it was over. He said that you never know how strong you are till being strong is the only option. It's the only option you've got. And I think this is really true. Sometimes we undermine our own strength and we think that we are not as strong as we could be. But then if you're hit with things that, or with an instance or an incident that being strong is the only option, then you get to realize that, oh, I didn't know this quality was in me. I think that is also something that's worth noting. One thing I also heard about him that he said, which I was very touched, was even before he had his diagnosis, he used to go to St. Mary's Hospital, which is a hospital in the US. They treat kids with different diseases, and some are very life-threatening, some cancers, some other things. Prior to he used to go there. Initially it was monthly and then later quarterly, where he would sit with the kids, share toys, tell stories, read for them and all that. Because he feels that when you go there and appreciate children like that going through, undescribable pain and undescribable trauma, their situation is they're not so sure about life even, but still they live every moment and they smile through it. Then you start to appreciate where you are, and I think that is wonderful, because we've been taking a lot of things for granted. And so if you see people who have less than what you have and are still grateful for life, then you start to look at life differently. It also prepared him for something that I would mention later, which I think that trial is something so huge. Okay, so he said something else. He said that make the most out of life. You might not be alive tomorrow, and you might outlive someone you thought would outlive you. This is very important. Make the most out of life, the people around you. And this brings me to the revelation I had from him, that he lost his son, who was just 5 months old, to brain cancer. And as someone who's lost a mother to cancer, I kind of would not understand, but I appreciate what he's saying. It is not easy. And just by the way, he also mentioned something which I think I should share. He says that when people are going through things, never tell them that you understand. You do not. People deal with things differently, so you might deal with the same thing differently. But when what people go through is serious. So his son, and also being a new dad with almost a 6-month-old child, 6-month-old son, I think I can feel it somehow. The fear that he saw his son battling brain cancer at 5 months. This is not easy, and he's taking it so well, and I just wish him luck. The presenter asked him if there's a way you make a peace with it, like you live with it. You know, the grief would come, but it would go, and he said no, it doesn't go. You learn to live with it, and I actually agree, because with my mom's passing, I've not healed from it, not at all, but I've learned to live with it. And he even mentioned something that was also very deep. He said that it is not just about the loss. These losses, there are some, things behind it. If you are able to look for the silver lining behind that loss, that is when you have achieved a purpose. When you turn this loss or this pain into a purpose. For example, you lose a child, and so you start appreciating other children. You lose a mother, and so you start respecting women, because they are also people's mothers, sisters, and all that. So when I believe you get the point. And so when you turn this pain into purpose, that is when you would have done something that is great and that is very important. So he said that time heals everything. That is what's said. But he says he thinks that you actually learn to live with it. And I believe, I completely concur. Time heals things, but some pain, some loss. There are some losses you don't get healed from. You actually learn to live with it. The pain is there, but you learn to turn you learn to function even within those ideas going on in your head. So learning to turn your grief into purpose is extremely important, and I think that is the difference between people who then become seasoned drunkards to people who then have a real meaning to life, and they rather turn it into something positive for the rest of the world. He mentioned something which was quite funny but true. He said that when you have kids, their problems become your problems. For example, if they are scared, you are scared. If they're having diarrhea, you have diarrhea. If they're worried about something, you are worried, and that is great. So as a parent, even though you will deal with your problems, you will still deal with your children's problems. There are a lot more, but I cannot go into all of them. I think I would put this here and would recommend that if you have time, do give it a listen. You can also check on YouTube, Diary of a CEO with Steven Bartlett. The Steven is Steven Bartlett, and or you can also I think read about Nick Cannon. Now I'm very impressed about what he does, what he's been doing, and all the works he's been doing across like so many years without wanting to take credit for that. And the main purpose is not about the money he's going to get out of it, and that is wonderful. I wish him luck, and there's no way, I'm not sure there's any way he's going to hear from me that I am now unofficially a fan of Nick Cannon and a well-wisher of him, because people like that, we need to appreciate them, and we need to learn from them and try to copy some of these things they do, and also bring the beauty or the qualities we have, try to make it better and make the world overall a better place. Thank you very much, and this is I Am Moment. We shall meet again. May the peace and blessings of God be with us all.